This is Mr. Staleman. I'm the creator of Inscribed Heartstealer, and this is going to be a session 0, where we go through the step-by-step process of creating a character, rolling our stats, and acquiring everything that we need in order to run day 1 of the game. So as you can see here, we have a visual setup guide that you can find when you purchase the game on itch.io/Inscribed Heartstealer. And the first thing that we would be doing is selecting our origin. Now, for the purposes of this video, I have already selected what origin we are going to be using, and we are going to be using the Slayer origin. The Slayer origin, as you can see here, uses a number of cards that focus on their unique mechanic of marking enemies, which will increase the amount of harm that they take, and stealthing. So in order to avoid attacks. They also use a companion, and they are the only characters that start the game off with a companion. So if we move over to our character sheet here, you can see that this character sheet that we have available allows us to write down our name, our origin, and enter in the factors that we have for our character. So we're just going to write test name here for now. And we're going to write our origin, which would be the Slayer origin. Now the Slayer starts with 2 Fortitude, 2 Finesse, 2 Familiarity, and 2 Faith. And everything is color-coded in the game. So with 2 Fortitude, the max health goes up in increments of 3 for every point of Fortitude that you have. You have 6 max health for now. We'll talk about equipment in a moment. For Finesse, that Finesse translates to the amount of energy that we can use per turn. That goes up to 2. Simple, easy. The Familiarity is the card draw that we have for the cards that we will be using in the game, and our card draw is at 2 as well, because our Familiarity is at 2. And finally, the mulligans. Whenever you are playing a card game, you have the ability to mulligan your cards in order to select new cards from within your deck. And the mulligan option is versatile in this game in that not only can you use it in order to draw for new cards as your deck becomes larger and larger, but it also allows you to alter your rewards if you are skilled enough to play with the hand that you're given and try to pull for more useful cards from the rewards that you would find from monsters. So here, that is going to be at a 2 as well. So if we go over to our visual setup guide, our Slayer starting HP is at 8. Now, it's at 8 because they have armor that gives them an additional 2 max HP. That would be an 8. And they have 8 current HP because we haven't fought anything just yet. Moving forward, we would separate 2 cards, one being the Deck of Fates, one being the Deck of Memories. The Deck of Fates, as seen here, is used for card rewards, determining experiences, and creating enemy decks. Now, we will not be using the Deck of Fates at this moment in time for the purposes of this demonstration. We're just mostly going to be focused on the Deck of Memories, and we are going to create 6 options for our character. So using random.org, here I'm going to draw 6 cards, and then I'm going to use these 6 cards to create a pool of my starting 3 actions that I could add onto my action stack, or the deck that I will be using for the duration of the game. So I drew an Ace of Spades, a Jack of Hearts, a 2 of Hearts, a 6 of Clubs, a 5 of Diamonds, and a 10 of Spades. For shorthand, any club card that you're going to be drawing is going to provide you with a defensive action of some kind, some sort of block. A spade action is going to be some sort of status effect that you can inflict onto the enemies or onto yourself, and any red card that you draw into your character is most likely going to be an attack action that you can employ. We have our 6 cards here, and these cards refer to our Slayer action book. These are all of the actions that the Slayer will have through their journey. And when we are picking our cards, we have to refer to this action book in order to discover what sort of character we are going to try to develop at the start of our game. So to begin with, we got an ace of spades. If we go down to the spades section, again, these are organized right over here on the second column. If we go to the ace of spades section, we could play the top 2 cards on our war deck. As you can see, this has a starting cost of 3 energy. And if we know what our character starts with, they only have 2 energy to play with at the start of the game. So using something like the Slayer sequence might not be useful to us at the moment in time, because we just won't have the energy to play the card. It'll be a dead card in our hand. So I'm not really considering adding that to our character sheet. With the Jack of Hearts, we would get crowd control, where we deal X harm to all targets. X being in red here signifies that the harm that we'd be dealing is equal to our fortitude. In this case, we would be dealing 2 harm to all targets. Now, crowd control is a strong ability in the mid to late game, because we would have situations where we might want to influence the amount of fortitude that we're adding to our character. So I would put that one in the maybe pile. Then there's the 2 of Hearts. 2 of Hearts is we deal 2 harm to an enemy with a 1 energy cost. And if the target intends to harm us, we deal 6 harm instead. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a very useful card, and I'm most likely adding this onto my starting deck. So if I were to go to my character sheet, I can scroll down all the way to our card tracker here. Now the card tracker, the action stack management sheet, it allows us to have a record, a running record of not only what cards we have in our deck, but also whether or not those cards are upgraded. Because as you have noticed here, these cards have the ability to be upgraded to perform different actions. So if I were to upgrade my counter card, I would be dealing 4 harm instead of the 2, and if the monster intends to harm me, I would be dealing 10 harm instead of 6. So I'm going to add my heart card to my deck. Now that means that I have 2 more options left from this pool of 6 cards. I have the 6 of clubs. If I go over here down to the 6 of clubs, the 6 of clubs is an 8. So that means I always draw this card on the first turn of every encounter that I'm in. So if I am in a precarious situation where there are a number of enemies attacking me on the very first round, something like Steps Ahead, where I gain 7 block immediately, might be very useful to me. And at this moment in time, I don't have any other block cards that are going to be available within these 6 cards available. So I'm going to put down the 6 of clubs as the second card that I have for this character. Now, the remaining 2 cards are my 5 of diamonds and my 10 of spades. With 10 of spades, I would be applying 2 mark, 2 weak, 2 vulnerable, and 1 slow. So this is an action where I would be applying a lot of status effects onto 1 enemy. Very useful in a solo environment where I'm targeting 1 monster down, but I might not be in a situation where this will be useful in a crowd of targets. If I go to our 5 of diamonds, I can do payback, where I deal 3 harm, and I deal 7 harm instead if I was harmed last turn. Now, what's curious here is that with being harmed, it doesn't say whether or not that harm was blocked or unblocked. So if I use something like payback on the second turn after I've already blocked, that might be incredibly useful. I'm going to go with payback. Now that we've finished selecting our action stack, we have the next step where we will shuffle the deck of fates and determine our starting location. Now, as you can see here on step 5, if you do not wish to confer with the deck of fates in order to have the starting location selected for you, you may select your starting location by yourself. So I've already set up our random card organizer here, and I'm going to draw a card, and that card is going to be the 10 of diamonds. Now the diamond card means that we would be starting in the plains 5E. As you can see, it's right here. So we would go to our character sheet, and we would go all the way to our map, and we can have our starting location drawn into our PDF here. So this would be the color. I'd put maybe yellow, and then I just draw a star saying, hey, this is where we are on day 1. This is everything that you would need to know where you're going to start, what you're going to do, and if we can move further along, you can see on our visual sheet, we would begin our day 1 on step F. Now this game is interesting in that it has a number of months in which you will be playing. We would be starting our adventure on day 1, and we would be moving every day from tile to tile until we eventually reach the 3rd month, the month of wind, on the 6th, if we haven't found the titular Heartstealer's lair and have slain them. Before that point, right, we want to make sure that we've found the creature, and we have several different events and scenarios happening through the game. Assuming that you have found more dungeons and have slayed them, we would be extending the time in which we're playing further and further along. So it's a delicate balance of trying to manipulate your character across this map, entering into interesting locations, acquiring different events, and amassing power that will make you strong enough to defeat the Heartstealer when that time comes. So I will be recording another video at some point in the future where we will go over our day 1. Day 1 will have us roll on the scenario table. I'll have a template set up, but aside from this, please consider playing Inscribed Heartstealer. Please consider adding it to your list of games that you would like to play. And this has been Mr. Staleman. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.